This is what over 10,000 points of Imperial Guard looks like. Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode, we are going to be going through my entire Mordian Iron Guard collection. This is something that has been heavily requested by the community, and I thought, you know what? It's a really good idea because I've not got the whole army out in a while, and I've kind of just been building and painting and adding to it, and well, it's grown a bit since I last got it all out in one go. So I'm actually really excited to see it all on the parade ground, and I'm excited to go through it with you guys today. We will be looking at the individual units in this army, as well as a little bit of the headcanon and lore that I've built up around the regiment and its structure. And so, without further ado, let's not mess around. Let's fix bayonets, stand to attention, and dive right into today's episode.
Tell me, do you know what makes a good soldier?
The ability to fire 3 rounds a minute in any weather, sir.
No, you fool! It's the ability to click on the affiliate link down in the description and buy yourself a copy of Sharpe's Command.
I command here.
No, I command here.
No.
Sharpe's Command is the brand new novel in the best-selling historical series that has sold over 20 million copies worldwide.
God save Ireland!
Buying yourself a copy of Sharpe's Command and supporting the channel at the same time? Now that's soldiering.
Now let us begin with a very brief bit of homebrew lore about my regiment, the Mordian 50th Rifles. Originating on the planet of perpetual night, Mordian itself, the 50th Rifles are a long-standing and venerable regiment. They have been around for a long time, and they can trace their lineage back to one of the earliest foundings on their homeworld. However, the regiment has actually spent pretty much its entire military career fighting on the Eastern Fringe, with serious engagements with the Tau Empire and Tyranids along the Damocles Gulf. In fact, the regiment has taken part in numerous offensive and defensive actions against the Tau Empire, and it's safe to say that the Mordians have a particular hatred for this Xenos force. Now, ostentiously and on paper at least, the Mordian 50th is meant to be an infantry regiment, and they sure do have a lot of boots on the ground. But they also have acquired many other assets over their time, things that wouldn't normally be allowed in an infantry regiment in the specialized structure of his Imperial Guard. Now, the reason that the Mordians have these potentially unsanctioned or unorthodox extra pieces of equipment like tanks and artillery is a combination of Departamento Munitorum oversight and a very special battle honor. You see, during the chaotic days post First Damocles Gulf Crusade, the Mordians were brought in to the newly reclaimed Imperial worlds to make sure that discipline and imperial rule was maintained, something that Iron Guard are very good at doing. But the Tau can never be trusted, always like to push the boundaries and sneak a world away from the Imperium here, a colony away from the Emperor's Light there. And so during the Battle of Hill 431, also known as the Storming of the Black Hills, the Mordians took 90% casualties whilst driving away a superior Tau force. Now, captured Tau from the battle after interrogation speak in awed tones, speak with shaken voices of guardsmen who would not break despite the punishing volleys that were thrown into their packed ranks. The Tau were used to fighting other guard regiments and PDF forces, ones that didn't have the iron discipline of the Mordians. And despite taking horrendous casualties, the Mordians came again and again and again, and 3 times they assaulted the Black Hills. and twice they were thrown back. But the third time, with bayonets fixed, they took the hill, they took the ridge, and they planted the flag of the Emperor on the high ground. In recognition of the insane bravery and heroism that the Mordians displayed in the face of a terrible foe like the Tau, they were granted the right of perpetuality. A bit like perpetuals in 40k that can never die, the Mordian 50ths must always exist. There must always be a 50th Rifles. And as a result, whenever guard regiments are combined, a standard practice when two regiments might be below half strength, and the Departmentum Unitorum will combine them together to make a new regiment at full strength. Whenever regiments are combined, whether the Mordians are combined with another regiment, their name remains. So rather than it being a combination, it is more like the other regiment gets absorbed by the Mordians. Now this is all well and good when infantry regiments are combined, but as we all know, the Departmentum Unitorum is not the most efficient beast, and neither is the Adeptus Administratum. And so there have been times when a quick signature by an overworked Munitorum clerk has seen Mordian 50th Rifles combined with armoured regiments, with mechanised regiments, with artillery regiments. And these regiments will bring their equipment and they will add it to the toolbox of the Mordian 50th Rifles. And this is how they have been able to gain lots of tanks and artillery and other things that normally would be a big no-no in the Guard, which likes to keep regiments specialised so that no regiment has all the tools available to it in case it decides to go rogue. But with that bit of background lore and headcanon established, now let's get to the real reason why you're all here. The models themselves, the collection. And we'll start off with the Infantry Corps. Every day in the Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal a banquet, every paycheck a fortune, every formation a parade. I love the Corps. Now it might sound obvious, but let us begin with 1st Platoon. And this is the mechanised recon platoon of the Mordian 50th. 1st Platoon is one of the larger formations within the regiment. Not only do they have the standard 50 guardsmen and a command squad, but they also have access to multiple mechanised assets. Every unit is mounted up inside a Chimera APC, and they are supported by 3 Hellhound tanks and multiple formations of Scout Sentinels. Now you'll notice that some of these Chimeras have been reinforced with extra armour on the sides, and this is due to the time that the Mordians spent fighting through urban environments, reclaiming planets on the eastern fringe. Now the big difference in the infantry between 1st Platoon and many of the other platoons that we'll see later on is that they travel light. There are no heavy weapons in these squads. Instead, there's an additional special weapon assigned to each unit. And guardsmen that are assigned to 1st Platoon are ones that are particularly athletic, particularly good on their feet, good at piling out of chimeras, storming enemy positions, and they have to be able to move fast and in a deadly manner. They are the assault platoon, and they're often the rapid reaction force. They're often the first wave in to exploit a gap that's been created. They also do a lot of the recon for the regiment as well, scouting out ahead, finding where the enemy is, and then coming together so they can attack in force. Now 1st Platoon does tend to have quite high casualties due to the nature of them often being the tip of the spear. But despite this, it is considered an honour to be part of 1st Platoon, and many of the guardsmen within the regiment aspire to be in its ranks one day. Now after 1st Platoon, we have 2nd and 3rd Platoon, and these 3 platoons combined are 1st Company. Now 2nd and 3rd Platoons are your standard infantry platoons as has been seen and described in older editions of the Imperial Guard in the sort of 3rd and 4th and 5th edition codices. Each platoon has got 5 infantry squads. Now 3 of those infantry squads tend to be armed with anti-infantry weapons like heavy bolters and grenade launchers and flamers. And then the second couple of squads in each platoon have got the anti-tank capabilities. We've got a couple of las cannons in there. We've got some plasma guns as well. And also there's a cheeky missile launcher at the back there as well. Now, a lot of Imperial Guard regiments will operate their platoons in a smaller capacity. Rather than going for the big 50, the big 5 squads, you'll often see others with sort of 20 or 30 infantry in them. But the Mordians, being an infantry regiment and their favourite tactics being massed infantry assaults, they like to keep their infantry platoons at full strength so that when they go in, they've got the maximum power behind them. Now you'll notice that in addition to the 5 squads, each platoon has got a platoon command squad. These consist of a junior officer, typically a lieutenant or a captain, and then we have a voxcaster in each platoon command squad, and there'll be a special weapon gunner as well. Sometimes this will be a dedicated marksman with a sniper rifle, and other times it may be something with a little bit more punch. Each platoon command squad also has a couple of additional guardsmen, and these tend to fulfill the role of musicians or just general aides and runners for the officer. In addition to the commissioned officer in each platoon, there is also a commissar. Now, there are a lot of commissars in the Mordian 50th Rifles, and you can find them at every level of the command. And having this many commissars in the regiment is a little bit unusual, and it's very rare to see them attached so low down the command chain. In fact, a lot of regiments will just have a single dedicated commissar, but the Mordians have dozens of them in their ranks. Now, the reason why there are so many commissars in the 50th Rifles is due to that right to perpetuality. There are lots of different regiments and cultures that make up the Mordian 50th, and these all come from completely different planets that might have completely different ways of fighting, ways of war, and all that kind of stuff. And so the commissars are there to make sure that discipline is maintained to the Mordians' standard, and also to make sure that these guardsmen don't forget that no matter where they're from, no matter what world they may have originated from, they all fight in the Emperor's name. Now you'll notice that many of the commissars, in addition to their black coats and red sashes, also have the regimental colours of the Mordian 50th. And this is all part of the narrative that they are pushing, that they are maintaining, which is it doesn't matter where you came from before. The moment that you are absorbed by the Mordian 50th, the moment that you don the green and blue, that is the regiment you are part of now. Now, in addition to First Company, we also have Second Company, which consists of another 3 rifle platoons. Once again, we have the big chunky 50-man platoons, 5 squads in each one, each with a heavy weapon and a special weapon and a platoon command squad, and of course a commissar. But the big difference here is that Second Company has a lot of OG original Mordians in it. This is where typically other Mordian regiments and other Mordian guardsmen are assigned when they get absorbed by the 50th Rifles. Even though all of the guardsmen from different worlds do like to fight alongside each other, and whilst many of the other guardsmen are considered honorary Mordians when they become part of the regiment, there is still that esprit de corps, there is still that potentially essence of elitism that original Mordians maintain over their comrades. And having full formations of pure Mordian guards, having full platoons of that, does has its advantages. Even if it can cause a little bit of friction in the regiment, a little bit of separation, it does have its advantages, because sometimes you just need a company. Sometimes you just need a body of men that will hold the line to the last man, no ifs, ands, or buts. And having just a solid core of Mordians in the Mordian regiment has time and time again proven its weight in gold. Now, the role of all of these infantry platoons, these standard formations in the regiment, is actually not super defined. At the end of the day, these squads are equipped to take on anything and everything. They have the pure numbers and the weight of special weapons to launch assaults across no man's land, to storm enemy trenches and enemy positions. But as you can see, there is a vast concentration of heavy weapons inside these platoons as well. So if they need to hold the line, they can take on anything and everything, be it hordes of smaller enemies or larger war machines and monsters. These infantry platoons make up the flexible backbone of the regiment, and they will be called upon to conduct any number and any type of military actions. But like we saw with 1st Platoon of 1st Company, the Mordians do have specialists in their ranks as well. And the majority of these can be found in 3rd Company. Now, on paper, 3rd Company seems like a pretty small detachment within the regiment, but do not underestimate it. It is possibly the most effective and deadly fighting force within the ranks of the 50th Rifles. For 3rd Company is also known as the Assault Corps. The Guardsmen of the Assault Corps consist of the meanest, hardest, biggest bastards in all of the regiment. Every single one of them is taller, faster, stronger, just harder than the average guardsman in the rest of the ranks. They are similar to grenadiers, they are similar to pioneers, and they very much fulfill a role similar to both of those kind of specialized troops within the regiment. These guys are designed to punch through, to take any formation. If there is a objective that even 1st Platoon is struggling to take, if there is a fortification that is just withstanding against the repeated assaults of the rifle platoons, then the Assault Corps will be sent in. Having a huge overabundance of special weapons and access to other exotic equipment like melter mines, these guys will be the last and only answer you need to dealing with the trickiest of battlefield foes. Not only do they have all sorts of man-portable equipment, but they have access to additional things like Cyclops demolition vehicles and Hades breaching drills to allow them to tunnel under or blow through any obstacles in their way. And once that breach has been made, it will be followed up by an assault by the Mordian Heavy Foot, the Ogren and Bulgren auxiliaries of the regiment. In addition to the Ogren auxiliaries, there is also a concentration of psychers within the company. Now, any good guardsman knows not to trust the witch, whether they're sanctioned or not. But sometimes there are forces out there, demonic forces, chaotic forces, that cannot be destroyed by lasbolts. And no matter how pure and faithful a guardsman's heart may be, the power of chaos is one not to be underestimated. And so having a small elite psychic squad within the regiment, A, allows the Mordians to keep all of keep them all out of the way, don't have them worrying with the guardsmen, but also means if some sort of counter ritual needs to be done, or some sort of anti-chaos spell needs to be woven, then they have those assets to hand. Now, some of the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you would have noticed we have a few Catachan special characters in 3rd Company as well. And just for a bit of fun, I have actually renamed these guys to make them feel a little bit more Mordian. So 3rd Company is led not by Colonel Ironhand Strachan, but by Major Steelfist Macken. Rather than Sergeant Harker, we've got Corporal Marker. And rather than Sly Marbo, we've got Cunning Morbo. All of that covers the 3 infantry companies inside the Mordian 50th Rifles. But like I said, they do have a lot of tanks as well. And so now we get to 4th Company. Led by Lord Commissar Fillmore Graves on his steel steed, the Iron Duke, 4th Company consists of the heavy armour of the Mordians. First platoon is 3 Lehman Russ battle tanks, El Clasico configuration. Second platoon consists of 3 more Lehman Russ battle tanks, a couple of exterminators, and a venerable demolisher that has been part of the regiment since its earliest days and was one of the first regiments that was absorbed by the Mordians. And then we have got third tank platoon, which is 3 Malcadors, 1 defender, 1 tank, and 1 Infernus. The idea behind these Malcadors is the defender will spray bullets out left, right, and centre, keeping infantry formations heads down in their trenches. The battle tank is equipped with lots of las cannons and will crack open any fortifications, and they will provide covering fire, whilst the Infernus, nicknamed the Swordfish Trombone, will drive up to the enemy trench line and fill it full of holy promethium. Naturally, after 4th Company, we have 5th Company, which contains all of the artillery available to the regiment. And there's a real smorgasbord here. We've got a Medusa, a Griffin, a couple of Basilisks, a Hydra for a bit of anti-air defense, and then 9 mortars, providing lots of fast-moving, man-portable artillery support to the regiment. But sometimes the Mordians have to call upon the heaviest of armour to get the job done. And this is where 6th Company comes in, with a pair of super heavies supported by a pair of very heavy tanks. These guys will be the final word in armoured assaults. We have got a Hellhammer here. Now, a bit of lore behind this Hellhammer. It actually was a Chaos Baneblade at one point. It had been captured by the Ruinous Powers, but it was then recaptured back by the Mordian 50th, and through an extensive process of sanctifying and purging and realigning its machine spirit to the Emperor's light, it has been brought back into the fold. But this is why you'll notice there's a distinct lack of Imperial Aquillas on this vehicle. We then have the Baneblade, the mighty Baneblade, the pride of Mordia, and you just can't go wrong with a cheeky Baneblade. There we are. We've also got 2 Rogel Dawn battle tanks, each one of these of a unique local design with an extended barrel and lots and lots of heavy bolters and heavy stubbers and all of the sorts of guns that makes the Rogel Dawn a formidable fighting machine. Now, breaking the 4th wall for a moment, you may have noticed that my headcanon, my lore around these Baneblades especially, is maybe not as extensive as you would have expected for models like these, and that's because for the longest time Baneblades weren't very good and I didn't really use them all that much. And a lot of the lore that I've built up around my regiment is through playing it on the tabletop. The reason that they hate the Tau so much and they fight against Tau so much is because growing up I fought against my brother pretty much week in, week out with his Tau army, and I've always been more of an infantry commander as well, so that's why the infantry's got a lot of really good lore around it. But I definitely have some gaps in my headcanon when it comes to these guys. And so what I would like to ask, what I would love to see, is down in the comments section, let me know if you've got any cool story ideas, some cool potential canon for how these super heavies came into the Mordian regiment, because I do think they deserve a bit more of a story than I've currently got for them. Next, we have the penultimate part of the regiment, the High Command. Now, when I was building my army up, we didn't have things like Cadian Castellans or Death Corps Marshals being senior officers. The Guard had platoon command squads and we had senior command squads. And so I've still based my headcanon on that sort of old structure. And so in this regiment, we have got 3 company/senior command squads. We've also got 3 Lord Commissars attached to these higher up commanders, and we've got 3 regimental preachers as well. And at the very top of the chain of command, we have the supreme commanders of the regiment. Overall, the regiment is under the command of Lord General Vossenberg. He goes into battle on his patented Mordi-mobile, no silly robotic horses for him. And then we have the High Ecclesiarch, we have got a Lord general commissar, a representative from the Adeptus Mechanicus, and various regimental attaches as well. You may also have noticed that we have another potential sort of Lord Solar Supreme Commander model in the army. This is actually Saint Solar Macarius, and you may not be able to quite see it on the camera, but his eyes are actually glowing. And one of the figures that the Mordians worship, that they deify, is Lord Solar Macarius. And so a little bit of fun with the regiment. Occasionally, if Vossenberg is elsewhere and they are in need of guidance, they are in need of command, then the angelic figure of Macarius will come forth and he will be able to command the regiment as well. Finally, we have the shadowy forces of the Inquisition. There is a Inquisitor always pulling the strings, and this is no exception with the Mordian 50th Rifles. But last, and certainly not least, we have got the Warhound Titan. Now, the lore behind this Titan is that it is officially named Mordian's Glory, and that was chosen by the community. But it is affectionately named by the guardsman that it protects as Kevin. Now, Kevin was seconded to the Mordian 50th after their part in defending the hive world of Thanatos during the First War for Thanatos. And he is not part of the regiment, but in honour of the service that they did for that world and their part in protecting the Governor's Palace and the Manufactorum and all that kind of good stuff, the Adeptus Mechanicus have seconded Kevin, and they've also repainted him in the colours of the Mordian 50th Rifles. Truly, truly a great honour, and he is the guardian of the regiment. Now, there is actually a little bit of a story behind how I got this Warhound Titan. It was actually a gift from the community. After the first big apocalypse event that I ran, the Doom of Thanatos, some of the people there had enjoyed it so much and had really liked the event and had made some firm friends and everything, that as a way of saying thank you, they all pooled together and they bought me and got commission painted a legitimate Forge World Titan, which is truly an incredible gift. And it was one of the moments that I realized like how special this community was and just how awesome you guys are. So I want to take a moment now just to shout out all of those people that did come together and get me this Titan, which is truly the pride of my collection. So a huge thank you to Akashareka, Campbell, Cosmic Drew, Charles B, Frosten, Jordan Freeman, Eld11 TriStar, Lord Prayer, It's-a-Me, Marco, Ravenga, and to Parabellum's Painting Services for getting me the Titan and for painting it up. And that, my little conscripts, is the full Mordian 50th Rifles covered in exhaustive detail. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I do have a number of other armies that I can cover. For example, I do have my Armageddon 234th Steel Legion, which is a force of similar size to the Mordians, not quite as big. There's no Titan, but they've got loads of cool things like Macarius heavy tanks and shadow swords and all that kind of good stuff. So I do have another guard regiment. I've got my pure Scion army as well, the Icarus Task Force, Gene Stealer Cult and Tyranids. I've got a big Black Templar force of about 200 Marines, and I've got a similar sized one of Death Guard as well. I've got my old world armies too, and I've even got some bolt action stuff. So let me know down in the comment section what you think of this army and what other armies you would like to see me do a showcase of. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. It makes a huge difference, guys. It really does boost the video with the YouTube algorithm. It's a great way to support the channel. And if you want to see my other armies, you don't want to miss out on those episodes, then make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.